You have been correcting your English. But what if you were already right?
Because today, we're about to break 10 grammar rules that you were told you could never break and show you they were never rules at all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk Emma, the podcast where we help you speak real English, confident English, every single day. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here today.
And today, something that is going to surprise you, maybe even shock you a little.
10 grammar rules that most learners think are incorrect, that teachers correct, that grammar books warn you about.
That are actually completely fine.
Not wrong, not incorrect, not mistakes.
Just misunderstood for a very long time.
And by the end of today, you will never second-guess your English again.
And before we start, please subscribe to Talk Emma. New episode every single day. Share this with one friend who is always correcting their own English unnecessarily.
Okay, 10 grammar rules that are actually correct. Let's go. Emma, how are you doing today?
Really well, although something happened yesterday that I want to tell you about.
Go ahead.
So I was writing an email to a client, and I wrote, "This is the project I have been working on."
Okay.
And my colleague looked over my shoulder and said, "Oh, you should not end a sentence with on. It is grammatically incorrect."
Oh, no.
And I thought, wait, is it? So I changed it to, "This is the project on which I have been working."
On which I have been working. Nobody talks like that.
Nobody. It sounds like something from a 19th century novel.
And here's the thing. Your original sentence was completely correct.
Completely. And that is today's topic, because there are so many grammar rules that people think are wrong, that teachers correct, that everyone worries about.
That are actually perfectly fine.
And today we go through 10 of them, one by one, simply, naturally.
So you never have to second-guess yourself again.
Let's start. Rule number 1, and the one I just experienced.
You can end a sentence with a preposition.
For centuries, people believed you could never end a sentence with words like on, at, to, with, for.
And this rule actually came from people trying to make English grammar match Latin grammar in the 1600s.
But English is not Latin, and in English, ending with a preposition is completely natural.
For example, who did you talk to? Perfectly correct, very natural. Or, what are you looking at? Natural, normal, everyday English.
Or try saying, "This is the book I was telling you about." Very natural.
Compare that to, "This is the book about which I was telling you." Technically correct by old rules, but sounds completely unnatural.
So end sentences with prepositions, freely, naturally, always.
Rule number 2, you can start a sentence with and or but.
This one. How many times have you heard never start a sentence with and or but?
So many times from so many teachers.
But, and there it is.
Starting with but immediately.
Intentionally.
Because native speakers start sentences with and but constantly, in speech, in writing, in every situation.
For example, but I disagree completely. Very natural, very expressive.
Or, and that is exactly my point. Very common, very flowing.
Or something like, but what if we tried a different approach? Perfectly natural question.
And but at the start of sentences, they add emphasis, they create connection, they make writing and speech flow naturally.
And the best writers in the English language use them constantly.
And now, so can you.
And so can you, always. Rule number 3, you can use they for one person.
This one very modern, but actually very old.
For hundreds of years, when talking about one person whose gender you do not know, people used they.
For example, someone left their bag in the office. Their for one unknown person. Completely natural.
Or if anyone calls, tell them I am busy. Them for one unknown person.
Or try saying, my doctor said they would call me back. Very natural. We do not know the doctor's gender, so they.
And today, they is also used when someone prefers non-binary pronouns.
This is my friend Alex. They are a brilliant photographer. Completely correct. Very respectful. Very natural.
They for one person, not a new rule, not a mistake, completely correct. Always was.
Rule number 4, you can split an infinitive.
An infinitive, Jack, for everyone listening.
An infinitive is the basic form of a verb with to before it. To go, to speak, to learn, to travel.
And splitting an infinitive means putting a word between to and the verb.
Like, I want to really understand this. Really sits between to and understand. Split infinitive.
And split infinitives appear everywhere in natural English.
For example, I want to really understand this. Really sits between to and understand. Or she decided to finally leave. Finally sits between to and leave.
Or something like, he tried to quickly finish the report. Quickly between to and finish.
All split infinitives, all completely natural, all used by native speakers constantly.
Compare I want really to understand this. Follows the old rule, but sounds strange.
Or she decided finally to leave. Technically correct by old rules, but unnatural.
Nobody speaks like that. Nobody writes like that anymore.
The split infinitive sounds better, always, because it places the emphasis exactly where it belongs.
Split infinitives, completely fine. Always were. Rule number 5, you can use who instead of whom.
Oh, whom? The word that makes everyone nervous.
The most avoided word in the English language.
People see whom and immediately think, this is too complicated. I will just avoid it entirely.
But here's the truth.
In spoken English, who is almost always used, even where grammar books say whom is correct.
For example, who did you speak to? Natural, correct in spoken English. Whom did you speak to? Also correct, but very formal, very stiff in conversation.
Or, who are you waiting for? Completely natural. Nobody says, for whom are you waiting?
Nobody, absolutely nobody.
Not in a real conversation, not between real people.
Whom, keep it for very formal writing, job applications, official letters, legal documents.
But in daily conversation, who always, freely, naturally.
And nobody will ever correct you.
Emma, can I say something completely unrelated?
Go ahead.
I just realized I have been breaking these rules my whole life and nobody ever corrected me.
Because they aren't actually rules. That's the whole point of today.
I feel so free right now, genuinely.
Good. Hold that feeling. 5 more rules to go.
Rule number 6. You can use like instead of such as.
Many grammar books say when giving examples, you must use such as, not like.
Like, I enjoy sports such as football and tennis. Technically correct by old rules.
But I enjoy sports like football and tennis, also completely correct and much more natural in conversation.
For example, she loves films like comedies and dramas. Very natural. Or, cities like London and New York are very expensive. Perfectly correct.
Like, for examples, completely fine in spoken and written English.
Such as slightly more formal, used in academic or professional writing.
But like, absolutely correct in any situation.
Rule number 7. You can use less instead of fewer in informal English.
Oh, this one. Grammar teachers love this rule.
Fewer for things you can count, individual items. Less for things you cannot count, amounts.
Like, I have fewer apples. Apples, countable. Fewer. I have less water. Water, uncountable. Less.
But in informal spoken English,
I have less apples. Completely understood. Very natural in daily speech.
for instance, less people came than expected. Very natural in conversation.
You hear this constantly from native speakers, in shops, on television, everywhere.
The fewer rule useful to know for formal writing and exams.
But less in conversation, completely natural, never sounds wrong to a native speaker. Rule number 8, you can use literally for emphasis.
Oh, this one makes some people very upset.
Very upset, yes.
The traditional meaning of literally, it actually happened, exactly as described, in reality.
I literally fell off my chair. I actually fell, in reality.
But now, literally is also used for emphasis to show how strong a feeling is.
For example, I literally died laughing. Obviously, you did not die, but the feeling was so strong, so funny.
Or, I'm literally starving. Not actually starving, but extremely hungry. Or, she literally never stops talking. So, literally for emphasis, not a new lazy mistake.
A very old, very natural, very expressive use of the word.
Use it freely.
Literally freely.
Rule number 9, you can use and without a comma before it in a list.
The Oxford comma, one of the most debated punctuation rules in English.
Oxford comma, Emma.
The Oxford comma is the comma placed before and in a list of 3 or more things. I had eggs, toast, and coffee. That comma before and, that is the Oxford comma.
Some style guides say always use it. Others say never use it.
And the truth?
Both are correct. It is a style choice, not a grammar rule.
I had eggs, toast, and coffee. No Oxford comma. Correct. I had eggs, toast, and coffee with Oxford comma. Also correct.
Both perfectly fine, both widely used, both accepted everywhere.
Choose your style and be consistent. That is all. And rule number 10, you can use they to refer to a company or organization.
In formal grammar, a company is technically singular, it, not they.
The company released its results today. Technically correct by old rules.
But in everyday natural English,
the company released their results today. Very natural.
For example, Apple announced they are releasing a new product, or the government said they are changing the law.
You hear this constantly from native speakers, in news reports, in conversations.
They for companies and organizations completely natural in spoken and written English.
And nobody will correct you, because everyone does it.
Now, one complete natural conversation, breaking all 10 rules naturally, the way real people actually talk.
2 friends discussing a film they just watched.
Emma, what did you think of the film we watched last night?
Honestly, I literally could not stop watching. I was completely hooked from the start.
Same. And the director, they did something really special with the ending.
Completely agree. But I have to say, the first 20 minutes were hard to get through.
That's the thing about films like that. They take time to build.
True. Someone told me it was based on a book. Do you know who they got the rights from?
I'm not sure, actually. The production company, they announced something about it last month, but I can't remember the details.
I'll look it up, and I want to really understand the ending better. I think I missed something.
Let's go over it together. That's what I was about to suggest.
Yes, and I want to boldly say, I think it's one of the best films I've seen this year.
Boldly say, nice.
I couldn't resist. But seriously, it's the kind of film you just can't stop thinking about.
Agreed. Less people appreciated it than I expected, though. The reviews were quite mixed.
I know, but the studio, they clearly believed in it, and I think they were right.
And did everyone notice the grammar rules throughout? 10 rules, all broken, all correct. One natural film conversation.
And nothing sounded wrong. Nothing sounded strange. Before we finish, I want to say something. How many times have you deleted a perfectly good sentence because you thought it was wrong?
How many times have you second-guessed your English when it was actually fine?
Too many times for most learners. Too many times.
And today, that stops. 10 rules, all yours, all free.
And the next time someone tries to correct your perfectly natural English,
You'll smile and say, actually, I'm right.
Because you are. You always were. If today's episode surprised you or freed you from rules you didn't need,
Please like this video.
subscribe to Talk Emma.
Share this with one friend who's always correcting their own English unnecessarily.
And leave us a comment. Which rule surprised you most today?
Or which rule were you following that you didn't need to?
We read every single comment. Every one.
Thank you for being here. See you in the next episode.
Until then,
Keep talking
keep learning.
and keep growing. Bye, everyone.